Hi, I'm Louisa Ashworth from LA Training Academy, Creating Salon Success, and I'm here today with Ian Archbold, and I'm really excited. So I'm going to let him introduce himself because otherwise I might just talk a little bit too much. So hi Ian, thank you so much for coming on.
Good morning, Louisa, and thank you very much. Yes, my name's Ian Archbold. I'm the show director for Olympia Beauty, which this year is in its 17th year that we're now hosted at Olympia, and I'm also director of Scratch magazine as one of my other hats that I wear, and also director of Olympia Beauty Spring, which is our online event, and also our Olympia Beauty online store, which is something that we launched in lockdown. So yeah, plenty of things to do on a day-to-day basis.
Sounds like it. When do you stop?
Beauty doesn't sleep, never sleeps.
Definitely doesn't. I was just saying that yesterday. It's a very, very fast-paced industry. I often, obviously I've got my salon as well, my husband often used to say to me, Louisa, you're getting the next thing already, you need to stop. And I said, you don't understand, you've got to keep up, because it is just non-stop, isn't it? It is very, very fast-paced.
It is, and I think what's really lovely about the beauty industry as a whole is there's a phenomenal amount of entrepreneurs and a phenomenal amount of people that are driving it forward. And I think for my role as organizer of the event is not necessarily to look into a crystal ball and see the future, but really try and put things into the event which are current and things that are going to happen. And you know, it's continually changing and evolving, whether it be through treatments, whether it be through product, whether it be through individuality. And I think what's the last 18 months has shown the industry is a massive ability to turn on what they do and look at what they do as an individual and as a business, and really look at the skill sets that they're involved with and try and look to ways in which they can really bring additional money into the business, but also keep busy with all the new and exciting training and education that, you know, it's continually developing your business and yourself and your team. It's hugely important.
Definitely, yeah, you do have to stay on top of your game, don't you? That's for sure, definitely. So before we get into everything, I just like to ask a few questions. I basically ask the same questions to everybody. What book are you reading now, just so people can get to know you?
I've just had for a present from which was for Father's Day actually, with a trilogy called The Last Kingdom, or the first book from Bernard Cornwell is the author, called The Last Kingdom, but there's 3 in the set. I've seen the program, or there's a series I think on Netflix, but I've just started getting into the book, and apparently, like with a lot of these things, the books are so much more in depth, and so I'm battling into that, and it's a fantastic read actually, really enjoying it.
Oh, that's good. Oh, well, you might have started a thing there. I've not heard of that one, so I am a bit of a Netflix fan, so might have to download the box set. But yeah, like you say, the books are always more in depth.
Yeah, and it's a great program actually. It's I think it's sort of a series, or it might be a film, I can't remember now, but it's it's certainly an entertaining one, and there's a bit of sort of old English battle and blood and guts and all the rest of it. So.
Ooh, I'm hoping I might like that then. So if you were reading say, obviously because in business we do a lot of personal development as well. If you were reading a personal development book, what is one of your favourites? Would you recommend any to any entrepreneurs, or are you not bothered about that? Some people are, some people aren't.
I've read sort of over the years. I've looked at read Richard Branson. I've read a number of individuals sort of that have really sort of made a massive impact. But I think one of the things, there's everybody goes on their own journey.
Definitely.
And it's very, very easy to sort of look and be inspired by, and everybody wants to be the multimillionaire. You know, all of those journeys. But I think what is good, you know, if you read a lot or you watch a lot, then you will always pick up certain things, because as a business you are unique, as an individual everybody's unique, and I think everything that you can do to better your understanding, your knowledge, that really, for regardless of what business you're in and what sector, if you're passionate, you want to learn and you want to get better and do better, you know, those really are, if you've got that drive, that really is the key. And very similarly, when we launched the show back in 2005, one of the things that when we first launched it, the journey we've been on as a business to evolve, you know, and it's changed, it changes all the time. And I think your business, you can't stand still. And, you know, the advent of social media, the advent of a lot of ways in which you connect with your customer is so key now. And also how you reach out to new people, because, you know, what treatment set you may offer in your salon, is for your case in point, you know, you may look and go, well, actually, I don't have that clientele base, whether it's a 15 to 24-year-old or the 60+ bracket. You think, well, are we catering for that audience in my salon? Well, yes, we are. We've got these two. And of course, lockdown, I think, has taught a lot of salons and a lot of individuals to potentially trim down their treatment list, because I think one of the things, and I had a conversation with one of our Salon and Spa Owner Club members more recently, was they got rid of waxing off of they'd moved more into sort of laser. And I said, you know, the time and energy it takes, and I never enjoyed it. And I thought what was nice was now people have that confidence to take it to the next step and, you know, just offer something different. And it is about generating money and growing your business.
I love that you've said that, because I had a conversation with someone just yesterday and we were talking about streamlining your price list. And obviously, you know, I do a little bit of mentorship with some beauty salon owners, and I've been talking about that with them, because a lot of people, it's about picking obviously where your passion lies, but also if you're like, some people are not passionate about nails, for example, and to me they're not very profitable either. They can be if you're passionate about them, but if you're not, and it's like you're not into it and they take a long time, then, you know, some people daren't cut them off the price. So like you said, daren't cut waxing off, but you've got to go where your passion is, and then making it viable for your business as well and your target audience. It's not just about turning up, is it? You've got to think about who you're targeting and make it a viable business for you.
Yeah, and I think what probably it comes down to is the one thing, sort of, I've been doing this job for many years and I absolutely love it because it's different, but also coming back to the salon owner, the therapist, the tech, you know, you've got to love what you do. You've got to really have, you know, you've got to know that, I mean, in this industry more than any other sector, we make a massive difference to people's lives. And whether that be putting on a set of nails, whether that be having a nice wax, you know, just that whole feel good factor for giving, you know, we as a sector really deliver a massive passion for what we do, and also we make people feel great about themselves, same as hairdressers, same as waxers, same as nail techs, lash techs, whatever it may be. And as a salon owner, you know, your sort of role is to, yes, be able to offer those services, but also to be energetic and bringing in lots of new and exciting stuff, which, you know, keeps people interested.
Yeah, you've definitely got to drive that business forward, haven't you? And do all your research, etc. But yeah, I think lockdown, above anything, has really taught us that we are far more valuable than, I mean, I think we've always known that we're valuable and customers love what we do. However, I don't necessarily think everybody else realised how, you know, maybe the beauty world and the hair world is not as indispensable as some people might have thought. You know, people have been crying out for us to reopen, and I know a lot of salons have been so busy since we've gotten back. Obviously it's difficult, and I know some have struggled a little bit, but it's getting people to feel comfortable in your salon, isn't it, in the new ways of working. Where
we'll see the journey of the salon, its role, it's, you know, the mental health aspect of how we as an industry are dealing with that. There's some phenomenal people in our sector that have really brought it to the table and are doing a phenomenal amount of work. I know certainly we work very closely with people like the British Beauty Council, people like BABTAC, people like the Beauty, you know, so a lot of the big associations, a lot of the big governing bodies that actually are really driving a lot more to help and support the industry. And they've done a phenomenal job over the last 18 months. And as much as yes, it does get recognised, I think there's so much more under the surface. Very similarly with running events, running a salon, you know, people don't see what happens. They turn up and they have a lovely day or a lovely afternoon, whatever it may be. But actually all the work, the stress, the hassle that goes into getting to that place. Yeah. And you can't do it without a supporting industry, but also without coming back to that whole thing, the passion, the love of what we do and how we make it better for everybody. And I think, you know, testament to our industry and our, you know, what we do. And I think for us, you know, Olympia, coming up 3rd and 4th of October this year, it's the first big industry show back, and it's so exciting. You know, there's such a buzz about people wanting to actually come back, And yeah, things will be different. Don't get me wrong, you know, it's not going to be like it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The industry has changed, but we're very much adapted to those changes. And we want to make sure that when people come, they are safe, they have faith that we're doing the best we can. And also they're going to see some lots of fun and exciting stuff. You know, that's really what my job is to create that. You know, you walk in and the heckles in your neck, you're excited to see what's new and exciting. You know, and that for me, it's, it's hard work, don't get me wrong, but it is so enjoyable. You know, there's nothing better than just looking over the show floor and just seeing a busy show with lots of people, you know, spending money and doing what they do best, you know, and enjoying themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think people sometimes realise that, you know, you've probably seen that picture of the iceberg when you just see all the nice bits on the top and then the bottom of the iceberg is massive and all the chaos of trying to get everything, you know, running in an order and stuff like that. People miss that bit. They just think that you've somehow magically created this amazing place with all these people in it. Olympia itself, though, is an amazing building, isn't it? And it is so nice to be in there. Obviously, I know I have exhibited there and I am coming again this year, which I am very excited about. It's nice to be part of. And like you said, the fact that it's one of the first events going back, it is really, really exciting.
So, yeah, I think there's so much excitement with, you know, what we do and how we create these events. And I know anybody that's ever organised a wedding or organised, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on and, you know, you feel so much part of what happens and you know, it's like anything, you're putting on a party. You want to just make sure that people turn up and everything is, you know, people are safe. And that really is, I've got to catch up with Olympia later, but conversations continually with local authority and venue, just looking at one of the things they had, because Olympia's going through a redevelopment program at the moment of at 1.3 billion pounds worth of complete redevelopment. The Grand Hall stays as is. But they've put in the same ventilation system as they have at Wimbledon for the tennis.
Right.
For the main, so in terms of that clean air, in terms of the ventilation, you know, that's something that no other centre offers, that high calibre of ventilation at their venue. And I think for us, it's a key part to make sure that when people come, they feel that we're doing the most we can, and the venue are, and the local authority are, to make people feel safe and actually to give people that really nice day out.
Yeah.
Or 2 days out for that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, some people make a whole weekend of it, don't they?
I know, yeah. They come down, they, you know, London is, you know, one of the best places on the planet to come and see, and you know, it is a mixture of business and pleasure. You know?
Myself and my mum work, she always comes to help me. We always make an extra little bit of time so we can try and go and see a show. So hopefully we'll get that in as well. You've got to while you're there, haven't you?
Well, exactly, and it's a great, you know, whether you're exhibiting at an event, regardless, is hard work. You know, it's there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of work goes on, but also the benefits of the connections you make, the people, the business you do, and all those things that actually make it. And of course, if you can, one, spend some special time with family and also enjoy a nice restaurant and a show, you know, oh, it's just nothing better.
Perfect, absolutely. One of my favourite times. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and it's not even far away, is it now? You know, it'll be here before we know it. So
I know, about 10 weeks away. It seems crazy, actually. It's just times that we seem to be in this sort of tube of time that just is flying away. I can't believe we're nearly at the end of July. But yeah, I mean, we've been full into preparations and everything and getting organised for the last probably, I mean, it takes normally a year to put these things on, but of course everything's tiny bit more concertinaed with the way that events are happening and exactly what we as an organiser need to put in place. And yeah, we're very confident with what we're doing and the conversations with the venue and the local authority to make sure we are doing the best we can and ensuring that that people are safe. That's really is the key, and they come and they know that they can come with confidence and enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I know we spoke, didn't we, oh gosh, ages ago, where we were speaking, well, during lockdown, and I know you were sort of trying to organise things then and stuff. I am just going to jump from some of my typical questions that I was going to ask you, but I'm just going to jump because it just links in. That we were speaking back then and you was already trying to sort of like diversify in the business, wasn't you? Because you just mentioned earlier that you started the online in the summer, and that was to do with obviously not being able to put on an event, wasn't it? So it's amazing how we have had to adapt and maneuver to keep in business, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the things we looked at was that when we launched our Olympia Beauty Spring event, it was really to facilitate. We deal with a lot of different brands across a whole different raft of sectors. And I think one of the things that I'd looked at sort of pre-Christmas last year was there was a lot of webinars, a lot of online events, a lot of online exhibitions. And I thought one of the things for us and what we wanted to achieve was really connecting back brands with their audience, our beauty audience. I mean, we have just over 50,000 on our email database that people get the newsletters through. And we looked at the opportunity for brands to communicate out and use us as a platform to communicate out their news, whether it be new online trainings, whether it be, you know, because everybody was looking at how they can monetize or get best out of the situation they were in. So the online Olympia Beauty Spring event launched on Valentine's Day, and instead of running it for a couple of days, we decided to sort of rip the whole rule book apart, and we ran it for 4 months. And over that 4-month period, we had phenomenal engagement from our audience. I mean, we had just over 60,000 that went onto the site over the period of 4 months and looked at engaging with whether people were offering online courses or whether they were doing seminars, whether they were doing webinars, whether they were doing money off vouchers, whether they were doing sales. And really what we did was just communicate industry information out to that audience. And, you know, for us, it was, you know, I think with a lot of these things is you sort of find your way once you go into them. And what we found was that keeping it so very simple and easy for brands and also for our customers, our therapists and individuals in the industry to just click on a link, and everything was directed back to the website of that business. So it created traffic for them, you know, and we just acted really as a conduit between buyer and seller in very simple terms, and it worked really nicely. And we've got big plans for doing it for spring 2022 to make sure that we have a big presence in the market again. So yeah, very exciting times ahead. There's nothing, never to stand still.
Absolutely, yeah, you've got to keep moving. And do you know that it is amazing though how you just step back from it all, I guess, and then just facilitated this platform to keep in touch with obviously all the brands that are used to exhibiting with you, but also your audience with it based on like your customer base, and you kept them in touch with the brands as well, which is really kind, I guess. But it keeps the business going as well, doesn't it? But it is really nice that people like yourself who have got such a massive, you know, event like Olympia, that you actually didn't just think, oh, we'll wait for the next one. You started then to put things in place to help brands as well, like myself, and, you know, smaller brands, big brands, because you do deal with all different size brands, don't you? You don't just stick to the big brands of the industry. You give everybody a bit of a chance.
I think one of the things that's really important is every one of those big brands started off as a small brand. I mean, I would use the case of Elemis when they initially started, and they were based down in Somerset, and with Sean, who started up the business with his father way back, and they grew it from, in inverted commas, the garden shed, and built it and grew to now being a global powerhouse that everybody knows the brand that's in the industry across the world. And I think what's massively important is for any small brand, and we've launched it at the show this year, which is our green beauty section, to offer a platform for new green brands that want to get into the professional market as a stepping stone to use the show. And we've tried to make sure that there is a buy-in, you know, because yes, it's important for us commercially to have big brands at the show, but also it's just as important, if not more so, to look at supporting, nurturing and building the smaller brands, because every one of those small brands wants to be a big brand, and you know, have a, you know, they want to get bigger and do more, include more product lines in what they do. And I think that's, for me, is as important, because the big brands know what they're doing. The smaller brands always need a bit more support and guidance and help to take those initial steps. Really
definitely important. And I think it's really inspiring as well when you see big brands, or like you say, like people like Elemis, who they did start small. It does fill you with a little bit of hope that then you can then progress to be a bigger brand as well, if that's what your aim is. But it's just great to be part of such a big event and not feel like a fish out of water, because you're still very much part of the event. So you can have small stands, big stands, and it's great that you do cater for that. I know I found it a great platform for me, obviously being from the north. it did really help me get some southern based salons, which is brilliant, because then you're spreading your wings a little bit further, which is what we need to do, isn't it?
Well, exactly. And I think one of the things, you know, we're a London based event, and we do have probably 75% of our audience comes from London and the southeast, which is a very strong area in terms of the salon network, but also very much is putting the brand on the map. And whether you come from Glasgow, whether you come from Ireland, whether you come from wherever it is, there's an inherent building of your brand and your business within the major central conurbations of the UK, whether that be through Manchester, through Glasgow, through London. You know, it's very important that as brands grow and develop, that they do have that wider network. And of course, like with everything, the passion, the love, and the products will, you know, people buy people. And I think one of the things, if you've got a good product, which there's phenomenally amazing products out in the market that don't sometimes always get to see the light of day or get to the, which is where we sort of want to support and help you younger businesses in the industry to look at the platform and say, well, actually, yeah, Olympia gives us a digital presence, it gives us a physical presence, but also, you know, being able to communicate out to an audience of 50,000 plus through newsletters, you know, that's sort of part of our job, is to really go on the journey with that brand and to build and help and support. And I think for us and the team at Olympia, you know, that's sort of part of the ethos of education, training standards. All of those things are key to what we do for our business. And very similarly, for a salon owner, for a brand, you know, looking at how do we evolve and develop and reach the right audience, that's certainly key. And we hope brands see Olympia as a stepping stone to building a better and greater brand.
Absolutely. Sure. And you've even made the event a little bit different again this year, haven't you? And I don't know if that's to do with lockdown or just taking time out and thinking about things, because you've created like a VIP. I know we always have a VIP area, but where you can actually go and see certain brands in that area, haven't you? So which is another great way for brands to get themselves talking directly to people. But I know you've created a couple of different things at Olympia as well for people, haven't you?
Yeah, we've partnered up with a company called Salonology this year to do sort of working with our Salon and Spa Owners Club. So any Salon and Spa owner is able to go onto the website to register and to be part of this club. I look at and I approve every single one to make sure that they are necessarily the right caliber, but they fit with the reality of what we do with the Salon and Spa Owners Club. They have a lovely lounge. We're putting in a hummus area this year at the show, and we've launched brand discovery sessions, which is really an opportunity which I know you're supporting, Louisa, with.
Yes.
You know, it's an opportunity for a brand to sit down with between 150 and 200 salon owners per session that we're doing at the show. So we're running 4 sessions, and it really is sort of come from a lot of research with salon owners wanting to really look at shows, because, you know, shows are fairly similar year on year for the greater extent. And so we wanted to offer those salon owners the opportunity to reach out and see new brands and talk to new brands in a much more sort of simpler format, and for brands to actually have the facility to actually, you can take a stand and also get involved with these brand discovery sessions, to sit down and talk with salon owners and really understand what their needs are, and for you as a business to actually gain a lot more insight and also leads potentially for business to grow more salons, to obviously take on your brand and work with your ethos and your understanding. I think that is really key about connecting people together. And, you know, it's just another one of the new things that we're doing at the show this year, along with our green beauty. It's new things that engage new brands and also visitors that get to see something new and different at the show every time.
Yeah, and you've got to keep up with, obviously, being green is very, very hot at the minute in the media and stuff like that. So it's great that you're going to attract that audience as well, that they're going to know that they've got a section, and you're covering all bases basically to suit everybody's needs and wants. But I, for one, I'm very excited about doing the brand discovery, because I feel like for me, my brand's a lot more, or my approach is very personable. And sometimes when you are at such a big exhibition, people are flying by and they don't always get to see some of, or you know what it's like, I know I've been myself, and you're sort of flying around and you don't always see everything, even though you've walked past it, or you might have even been looking for it, but it's so busy, and which is great. So by being able to actually go into the brand discovery session and talk to people, they can get to know you a little bit more, try the products a bit, and they come in, and just being able to have that personal conversation with somebody without it feeling like such a sales pitch. You can get to know each other and make sure that you are the right fit, because it's not always about just liking a product. You've got to like the ethos and everything about the brand.
Exactly, and I think what you do perfectly well, Louisa, is, and you emanate that passion, love, understanding of, and the personality. And I think it comes back down to, as a brand, why do people buy certain brands? And yes, historically people will have bought, I mean, my mum was a massive fan of Astral Cream, you know, that was a sort of a childhood memory of, you know, and that was a loyalty to, she'd never met the brand. But of course now, where salons and individuals are looking for something personal, a bit more unique and a bit more, so they get that support and they get that understanding. I think for any brand that actually can deliver that ethos, the passion, the love, and the personality, because I think it also is so key with what we do, is that people trust what we say, deliver what we're going to, you know, and those really, for any brand, you know, coming back to this phenomenal brands out there that don't necessarily always get the light of day, but the ones that are invested into sort of building and growing the business. And you know, personality is a massive thing, and being able to sit down amongst other salon owners, being one yourself as well as a brand owner, gives you a perfectly insight to say, well, actually this is how I run my salon, and this is what's worked for me. And I think that communication and that understanding for other salon owners to feed off of, and also, you know, it gives you a good balancing act to sort of listen to what salon owners in, I don't know, Liverpool or Dorset or wherever actually may experience different things with their different audiences. That you can say, well, actually, I've done it. And knowledge is power all the way through.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely is. I am excited as well because I've got an opportunity to have one of the stages as well, so I can really talk. You know, I am a bit of a chatter anyway, so people will really get to know me at Olympia, and I think they'll be sick of seeing me. I'll be everywhere, but I am very, very excited. So that'll be good. And like I said, just to you do give people that opportunity to have some of your breakout rooms and take the stage as well, which is great because not everywhere you get that opportunity, do you? So it is really good that you offer that.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've looked at over the years is that we've had stages on the show floor, and we worked very well closely with the British Beauty Council last year and Treatwell to put on a very big stage. Now for us, the breakout rooms and that educational opportunity, or for a brand to look at taking a room, or whether it be 20 people or 100 people, one of the things that is, it becomes then that person, and it could well be a training session, it could be a product launch, but it just gives you an opportunity to speak directly and offer something very unique to the show, which they wouldn't necessarily get. And the breakout rooms really give brands and individuals the opportunity to use the platform of Olympia and the visitors that come there to really offer something a bit new and a bit exciting, and sometimes a bit different, because, you know, walking the show floor is a fantastic thing, because everybody walks past. And coming back to what you were saying, you get distracted. There's, oh, look, there's a new demonstration over there, or, oh God, I've never seen that before. Yeah. And it's very easy. And it's, you know, when we put these events on, and the amount of times I've had meetings that have run over because somebody's walking across the show floor and gets stopped by someone they see, someone they haven't seen before, someone they trained with, someone they trained, and they, you know, that whole community and that sort of, I suppose, tribe in a way that brings those people together. And, you know, it's, I think sort of with beauty, you've got probably 3 or 4 degrees of separation between the whole industry, because it is, you know, it's very, very closely knit and it's exciting. And I think, you know, the breakout rooms give brands and people the opportunity to do something very unique on their own, and actually to talk to their market and talk to their things, to say, come and see us, we're doing this, it's going to be on for an hour, 2 hours. And actually you can come and learn something, pick up a goodie, or whatever the facility may be. That's really key, again, to what we try to do with the show, is just to give new pathways and avenues for brands to reach out to their customer base and look to build their business. You know, and that's what we do. We're about bringing together, in essence, buyers and sellers.
It is. It's definitely creating opportunities for people, isn't it? Like I say, buyers and sellers, but it is about opportunities. And I think the beauty industry it's definitely a business of opportunity, really, because there's so many different avenues that you can go down and so many people that you can get to know within the industry. And I know when I go to some exhibitions, that it's the only time that I see people, but you see the same, not the same people, but you see similar people each time, and often you're like, oh gosh, hi. And it's great because it becomes like a family, which is lovely. And you might not see them all year, but as soon as you're back together, it's like you've never been apart, and it's really nice, and everybody's got your back kind of thing, which is lovely.
Yeah, and that's the lovely thing with the show, is that, you know, what I've always tried to do, and the team have always tried to aspire to, is to bring that community together. And I think one of the things more so now, I mean, one of the new areas that we've launched in the show, which we haven't really officially announced yet, is we're doing a tribal gathering, which is a number of key people like Millie Kendall from the British Beauty Council, Karen Betts from Nouveau Beauty, a couple of other people, so the key people, Layla also from Beauty Boss HQ, that actually are looking to do their Clubhouse. So just to offer a room where we can bring, or they can bring, their sort of followers from Clubhouse just into the London room between 11 and 3 on Sunday, just so a lot of these people that have been connected through lockdown on Clubhouse in the digital sense have the opportunity to actually physically come and say hello to each other, and actually have and so we're putting on this as a platform really to bring those people together in the professional environment, to come and actually meet mentors, to meet their idols. You know, the beauty industry has created some amazing people that have delivered some amazing stuff and really brought the standard, the quality. I mean, the charity work I look at for a lot of the brands that we deal with, and what they've done over the past 18 months to support industry and support business, has been incredible, and it's humbling, you know. And for us to be able to just give a platform to those brands to say, well, look, you know, it's your area, come and just bring your tribe down to Olympia Beauty to come and meet up for the first time. I think for us and for me, that's certainly something that it's a bit about, where we can give back, but also it just means that we can bring people together that bit more and make it more of an event which is connected and is special for people. That's really sort of the driver, really.
I'm glad you used that word, because I just thought that's exactly what I was thinking. I thought it was really special that you're able to do that. And obviously, I'm not an Apple user, but Clubhouse was massive, wasn't it? I mean, it still is, but it did become, there was a massive hype about it during lockdown, wasn't there?
I think it's nice that, you know, it just introduces more people back to the Olympia family in many respects, and it just brings people together in a setting which people love. You know, it becomes a pilgrimage every year for people. I mean, we recently done a survey, and we put out just asking for people's quotes to say why they love coming to Olympia Beauty, and the response was phenomenal, and it really touches you when you're reading how that journey is. And we've got we were sending out a magnum of champagne we chose 3 winners in the end. We were going to choose just 1 winner, but when you start reading the journey and what it means to people to come to the show, and how it is part of their ritual and their yearly thing, it really touches you, and it's lovely to be able to actually be part of that. That's important, really more so now than ever has been. So yeah, the more we can do to help industry and bring it together, absolutely we'll do as much as we can.
Let's go back to one of my questions then, of my little icebreakers there. It should have been at the beginning, but I'm just doing it throughout because we're just chatting, which is nice. So who would you say inspires you then? Because obviously I think you're quite inspirational, because you have all these things that you're doing for the beauty world and individuals, really. People are inspired by you, but who inspires you? You did briefly touch on Richard Branson's book earlier, which I read that, and it is very inspiring, but anybody in particular? It doesn't have to be famous, obviously. It could be just a family member, or
I wouldn't sort of pin my sort of visionaries on anyone but one person in particular. I think what's really nice for looking at the whole spectrum of different people that sort of come into our lives and out of our lives, I think that sometimes with the journey we all go on, at certain times people come in, or for whatever reason there's a program you watch, or there's something that you see. I mean, I recently watched a documentary on the Chicago Bears, where it was from a basketball thing, of Michael Johnson, and about his drive and passion and And that really sort of at that time sort of inspired, and just thinking, well, he's, you know, and whether it be sports people, you know, I'm a big golf fan, I watch, you know, and you know, that's a one of those things that you sort of look and you get inspired by the drive of how, you know, and the highs and lows, you know, because not all of it is a sailing the, it's not easy and simple. And so yeah, I couldn't pinpoint one person, but I think at certain times in your life that you are guided, directed, pushed, whatever it may be. And of course I have a phenomenal wife that supports everything that I do and inspires, and you know, is also a good gauge to, you know, we're going to be doing, well, why are you doing that? And actually you need people in your life to question, why are you doing that? And I think that for me is certainly probably the biggest thing, is the support you have around you, and you know, the realities of, you know, getting on with the day-to-day job, but also saying, well, you know, that's the right thing to do, and that we should be doing more of this because that's what people like, that's what works. So yeah, there isn't one sort of idle in that respect, I suppose. It's just,
no, I get what you're saying. I just did a live just before we came on here in my group this morning, and I used that phrase, people come into your life for a season, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think so that's the same for being inspired, isn't it? That somebody can inspire you in that moment, like you say, a sports person, when you know they've had a difficult journey over the year and they've still come out and won, or a family member or a friend who's, I don't know, gone through a difficult time. But yeah, I think you're right, the support network. I can definitely say the same thing. My hubby always questions me, and why are you doing that? And I'm like, I get so frustrated. But yeah, it keeps you on the straight and narrow, and it's really good because it gives you that balance, doesn't it? And I think we need a little bit of balance in our lives.
we're all very sort of cut from the similar cloth, and I think, you know, what drives us and inspires us is what makes us who we are. We're not always going to make great decisions, period. That's just the reality. But it's also working for a publishing company many years ago, and one of the sort of the ideals for that business was that to get to the top, you know, MD or that type of level, you had to have made some very big mistakes, because everybody does. But it's how you adapt and learn from that mistake that you've made to actually make, one, that you don't do it again, but two, actually how you can learn and build. And without those falls, you don't have that understanding when you pick yourself back up, or you get picked up, is the other thing. Because sometimes you do need a proverbial kick, you know, to push, you know, because, you know, life chucks everything at you. And I think what's lovely, that network, and you know, if you've got the passion, then it will happen. And I truly believe that.
I agree. That is really, yeah, I do agree with that. It's very good advice. That yeah, you've got to have the passion for it and the drive, and it'll help you move forward. What about skincare then? If you had to pick something like a beauty product, because obviously I know you're very familiar with the beauty world, what would be the one thing that you couldn't live without?
The one I use, actually, I don't use it every single day, but I use it, is Daily Microfolium from Dermalogica.
Oh, very good.
My wife worked for Dermalogica for many years and introduced me to the brand, and one of the things, and it's like everything, it just seems as though it's a beautiful product. I mean, I have got some other favourites sort of with different brands that you see. I do love Image Skincare. They do a really good SPF 30 product, which I really like. But yeah, I mean, if that was sort of the daily microphone a couple of times a week, I find is probably that'll be the one for me.
Fab. It's good that you've mentioned SPF, because honestly, everybody I've spoke to in this last week, everybody said the SPF, or they brought it up. So I mean, obviously the weather probably does remind us about the SPF, because we've been very lucky. Yeah, so I agree. Yeah, you need a good skincare range, but definitely your SPF as well has to come in there, doesn't it?
And I think also sort of historically, you know, where we look at skincare, and I think makeup artists, whether it be nail techs, you know, it's not just one brand. Potentially it's, you know, you do need an eclectic mix of different brands. And certainly having sort of not worked in the makeup industry, but have put on makeup events and worked on magazines in that sector and that field, you know, it isn't just, you can't just have a MAC or a NARS or a this, or you have to have a mix of product to get the right result.
Definitely.
And I don't see that being different for skincare or for you know, and it's like exercise, you know, you can play football, or you can play tennis, or you can play, you know, and a group of muscles will get worked. But if you then play squash and then you play netball, for example, those muscles are going to be different. So yes, you need to have a good mix of what you do, and you know, and it's, you know, sometimes it's trial and error.
Definitely, and you've got to do what works for you at the end of the day, haven't you? So just speaking about you being involved in nail products and makeup and stuff like that, I did see you had your nails painted, didn't you, for a charity thing? I saw that. Good for you.
Oh yes, that's myself at Scott. We're sort of business partners, and I mean, I've known Scott for more years than I care to remember. You know, we've been on a journey, and I think one of the things, you know, from the charity side, and when Helena, who's the editor of Scratch, sort of said obviously about this story that's come up about this poor girl, and you know, it was about males painting their nails, and so we then decided to take it, put a bit of fun into it as well as much, you know, and so yeah, we had a competition between the two. We painted each other's nails, and then we went out to vote. And which of course I had to win. So, which of course is somebody did demand a recount, and wasn't. But the loser then had to double their donation to the charity. I think one of the things, you know, and you know, it's tough, you know, and I think for being able to bring a smile and be able to do something for the charity, you know, is massively key for us as a business. You know, and we do support a lot of different charities. You know, we do a lot of stuff with Scratch magazine, with charities, and of course with Olympia over the years as well. So, you know, anything that we can do, we can't obviously do everything, but where we see really that is nice, and also to put a bit of fun, and of course winning is just as nice.
Bonus. But no, it does raise a lot of awareness as well for people, doesn't it? Because people are not always aware of there's that many different things going off, isn't there? So it does help just to raise awareness. So it's really good. But obviously we have kind of spoken about diversifying your business a lot anyway from lockdown and stuff like that. But during lockdown, people, I don't know if you noticed this, but people became obsessed with, maybe obsessed is the wrong word, but they became, I don't know, we're just going to say obsessed with certain things. And it could have been food, exercise, and I'm just intrigued because people have come up with all different things. I know I had a bit of a thing for eggs and ham, so I don't know if you've ever done this. So you put it in a muffin tray, the ham, and then you just break an egg into it and put some cheese on top. And I never put things on Facebook like food, but for some reason I just did that day. And honestly, the amount of interaction and engagement it created, people were coming up with their variations, putting paprika in, putting chili in, cheese on the bottom, cheese on the top. It was great. So I tried all sorts. So that was my little thing. But then obviously everybody got involved somehow, a bit bonkers, but it's lockdown for you. So is there anything that you became a bit obsessed with during lockdown?
I think one of the things where we had probably more time on our hands and being at home all the time, one of the things that I didn't have maybe as much a passion for before, but was gardening.
Okay.
And spending time, you know, we keep ducks. We've got some ducks. We have 2 dogs. I have 2 boys. We have we're very fortunate to live sort of not in the city, so we have a lot of green space near us, and there's sheep in the fields, and we do a lot. You know, gardening is one of the things that, you know, is great with the family. We do potatoes, we do carrots, you know, so it's great for the boys to understand the food chain. And of course for us it's become sort of, you know, we're doing more and more of it, and of course then the more you do, the more you need to do. You know, and I think lockdown was not great for my waistline as much as and you know, you have to be very, you have to, you know, it's very easy to sort of lose track. But yeah, that was certainly something that we've enjoyed really, as you know, as a family. And yeah, it's hard work, but also a lot of understanding, and to, you know, that there's so much you need to learn. And you know, it's just another thing that you can sort of, you get passion, and of course it just drives you then, doesn't it? And I think that for us was one of the sort of things that really surprised me, actually, because you'd have asked me 15 years ago, then no, that wouldn't have been on my top 5.
I love that though. But like you say, it's learning about like the food itself, isn't it? And yeah, for the kids and stuff like that, I think it's brilliant and not a bad thing to be obsessed with, is it? Because you know, I bet you never ran out of food then, did you? Because you've always got something grown.
Yeah, just hoping when you pulled the potatoes that they were good. But no, and it was a lovely, you know, with all of that, that's, you know, looking at how the food becomes onto your plate and things like that. And it's good for the boys that had their own sort of vegetable patches and things like that. And so, you know, that learning aspect for them was sort of quite obviously younger at the time. And it's just nice. And it's just, yeah, and once the produce, and it does taste different. It is.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, years ago, I remember my brother, and I mean years ago, he was a bit like that, doing like vegetable patches and stuff. And yeah, I never used to like cabbage randomly. And then I had this cabbage, and I was like, oh, Mum, this cabbage is nice. Because I always had to eat everything, you know. I was one of them where I wasn't allowed to leave the table whether I liked it or I didn't. And she went, oh, it's from the garden. And I realised then how different things can actually taste. Because maybe it wasn't that I didn't like it, I just didn't like all the rubbish that's put on it. And obviously a lot of that's stopped now, because it was probably like 20 odd years ago, and the rest. Just to leave our listeners with something, then what piece of advice would you give to help somebody progress in their business or just in life in general? What would you leave someone with as a bit of words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. I think also it's key for having very much keeping up to date with what's going on, whether it be through professional magazines, whether it be through Scratch or whatever, you know, whatever medium that you're in, is to look at obviously the magazine that serves that, but also, you know, look at what if you're a nail tech, if you're a lash tech, if you're a salon owner, look at what everybody else within the local sort of area are doing. And, you know, there's a lot of huge amounts of inspiration out there. And I think really communication, and yes, everybody has had it tough. Everybody wants to grow and build their business. And I think now more than ever, that communication and that sort of coming together and visiting events. You know, Olympia is obviously, with what we do, we'd love to see you at the show 3rd and 4th of October. And I think one of the things for me is to come and be inspired. Once you're inspired, you have the passion, and that lights, once that's lit, then the potential is certainly there. And that really is where the journey, you know, it continues, you know, for what we do. And obviously, Louise, with your business, you know, every day you get up and it's like, right, what's the next challenge? And there's always something new, and there's something, yes, there's stuff that will come to test us, but actually going on, whether you go on forums, whether you know, whatever way you reach and get your information is massively key to inspiring what you do that day, but also going forward. So I suppose that would be my bit of advice, would be really to listen and look at what's going on around, and yeah, get involved with as much as you can in the industry. Definitely.
I love that, because I know whenever you can lose motivation, can't you? We're only human at the end of the day, and it's so easy to kind of get in a bit of a rut and feel a bit fed up. And we're so lucky that so many groups have been created on Facebook and things like that, where you can get a bit of inspiration from others, but you just can't beat a live event, can you? And coming to the show, coming to the exhibition, seeing that buzz and all those people like buzzing around, all happy, you know, especially this time, we're going to be so excited because it'll be like the first one. But yeah, I do agree with that. So yes, if you are around 3rd and 4th of October, come to Olympia, but come and see me on LA Skincare. but no, definitely the buzz from the shows are brilliant. So you've got to feel that, you've got to get some motivation, and we have to sort of use each other and utilise what's around us, don't we, to get that and build it back up again. It's really important.
Well, events don't come around that often, and I think what's really nice is that you come down and you see what's happening, and of course you may not know who you bump into, and it's really nice that, you know, there's the passion and love that we have for our industry is there in bucket loads, and it's lovely. And then when you come away from meeting brands, meeting people, seeing people that, you know, the inspiration, and yeah, actually it just that's the push that I needed to get to the next step of what I'm doing. And I think, you know, events are key, but yeah, certainly Olympia 3rd and 4th of October, that's where you need to be.
Can't wait. I know I said we're going, but just one more thing. Your Scratch magazine, even though it's Scratch and it is a lot to do with nails, you do have a lot of other things in there as well, don't you? So it is definitely worth a read, speaking of inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things for the magazine and what we find with Scratch is that you know, it's written for nail tech, you know, it's very much a nail based magazine, but what, as with makeup artists, as with nail techs, is that, you know, people have a passion not just for one thing. And where we see with the editorial content and what we write about, it's continually updating, whether it be on brows, on lashes, on nails, on skincare, on equipment, you know. So it actually covers the spectrum of beauty. The fact that it is scratch, yes, it's sort of driven initially by nails and nail techs, salons, but also, you know, it becomes then very much, as it has done, a mecca for people to actually come and see. And whether you go onto the website, there's phenomenal amounts of information. We're uploading, I think, between sort of 8 and 10 news stories every single day. You know, the Instagram account is a massive insight into beauty business. We do a huge amount of spotlights on salons. We do, you know, so it really covers the whole breadth of beauty. And, you know, we've got phenomenal people that support us. Things like, there's a big column in there for the Federation of Nail Professionals, which Marion, who runs the whole organisation, does for us every month. And really, it just means that as an individual within the beauty sphere, then yes, there's a read there for you, and you can subscribe, or you can get it digitally. You can go on the website, and, you know, there's loads of stuff on there. And whether, you know, for brands, it's a great outlet to reach an audience. I mean, I think we're now over 100 and nearly 125,000 on Instagram.
Wow.
So there's a big audience and a big community there that really love, you know, the passion and love of nail techs, as well as beauty, as well as, you know, it encompasses everything.
Absolutely. So, well, we need us all, don't we, to create such an amazing industry. We need all parts of it. So yeah, but oh, thank you so much. I feel completely inspired now after talking to you. So I'm like ready for my day. I'm like, yay. Thank you so much. I'm sure you have been, oh gosh, so inspiring to our listeners as well. And so I really, really appreciate you coming on. So thank you, Ian. And I will see you on the 3rd and 4th of October.
We will, and thank you very much for the opportunity. It's really nice to have a chat, and I think what's really lovely is that, you know, people can sort of listen and actually just get a bit more insight into what you do, what I do, and for a business, you know, it's about building and growing, you know, with what we do, and it's exciting times ahead. And yeah, absolutely. Come to the show on 3rd and 4th of October. We'll see you there.
Yeah.